the retail prices of rice are about 50 pesos per kilo. So mga 5 to 6 pesos lang ang binaba ng retail price. No? But look at the import cost. Yung CIF, that is the cost of imports from Vietnam, dadalhin dito, freight, magbabayad ng tariff. The FOB, the CIF price of imports, or well-milled price, decreased by almost 13 pesos per kilo. No? Ibig sabihin, nagmura po yung import. No? And then since binabaan natin yung taripa from 35 to 15%, the tariff went down by 643. So the total reduction in the import cost from the peak in January to June 2024 up to now was about 20 pesos. Pero yung binaba ng retail, wala pang 7 piso. No? So saan napunta yung 13 pesos? It went, hindi ko matukoy, importer ba o trader, maybe a little bit sa retailer, but definitely not to the consumer. Konti lang yung nabigay. Of the 20 pesos almost na pagbaba ng presyo ng imported rice, ang nabigay lang sa consumer is only about 6 pesos. No? So this I think is a lesson. No? Kasi yung response ng gobyerno ay dapat itukoy doon sa ugat ng problema. O kasi when the government responds to this type of problem by distributing subsidized rice, that is not the solution. The solution is to address the profiteering that is happening in the middle. No? 20 pesos yung binaba ng presyo ng imported. Bakit 6 pesos lang ang binaba ng retail?
Can you point out here in the graph the 20 peso drop? Where
Yan
is it?
pong under import cost, yung column ng total.
Okay, total.
so-
From 39, naging 45, and now from 45, not now,
No,
2024, 45, pagdating ng 2025, 26.
Yes.
So there is the 20 peso gap. Drop.
Yung last line po,
19.
that is the comparison between
Oh, wait.
the January to June 2024 average. No? Yan yung sukdulan nung price spike. That was a time na talagang may crisis.
Okay.
And we compare it to the average in this year, January to September.
So you're saying from January to June 2024 to January to September 2025, the imported rice has dropped by 20 pesos.
Yes.
And this is well-milled? 5%
Well-milled po. Well-milled. Well-milled.
So it has dropped by 20 pesos, and yet retail prices are still what?
Nasa
Dropped by 6 pesos.
6 pesos, yes. Kung merong perfect transmission, dapat yung 20 pesos na yon nabigay dun sa consumer. Di ba? Patas, pareho lang kita nila. Hindi naman bumaba yung kita nila. Pero naibaba dapat ng ganung almost that amount. Pero hindi. No? Ang yumaman yung nasa gitna. No? And the wholesale price here is from the PSA database is the wholesale selling price. No? So it does not say how much did the wholesaler get that rice from the importer.
Okay.
Yung po ang sigurong tignan ng PSA. No? Pero between the importer, alam natin yung cost niya, and then yung wholesaler, alam natin magkano na binenta sa retailer, yan po yung presyong yan. No?
Hatian nila sa 14 pesos.
Baka naghatian sila. No?
14 pesos.
And then yung retailer, nagpatong din ng, kasi yung wholesaler, pinasa niya sa retailer ng 8 pesos lower, pero yung retailer, binenta niya 6 pesos lower. So, nagbalato na rin yung retailer ng 2 piso. No? But the lesson is, in the end, hindi masyadong nakinabang yung consumer. No? So that is, I think, when we talk about amending RTL or talking about NFA, how do we address this type of problem? No? And ang masama pa rito, in the process, pumagsak din ang presyo ng palay. Kawawa rin farmer, hindi masyadong nakinabang yung consumer, naku, tuwan-tuwa yung mga nasa gitna. They are running to the bank, no? With all this saving. Billions po ang involved dito. No? So, with that background, I just wanted to show some proposals on.
On the issue of billions, no? May mga articles kasi na sinasabi na sa presyo ng palay ngayon, ano ang loss ng farmer? Sabihin mo ng, di ba, as low as 8 up to, sabi ninyo, 14?
Well, PSA data po, no?
Yes.
In September, the average farm gate price was 15.60 per kilo. September.
Okay.
That's last month, no?
Okay.
And then in 2024, they have another data, yung cost and returns from palay. Average cost of palay production is about 14.50 per kilo. Mababa pa nga siguro yan pero sige na lang, official data yun So, ang margin ng farmer, mga piso na lang per kilo, no? And ang average harvest niya, mga 4.3 tons. So, ang kinikita niya sa isang hektarya, 4,300 pesos net. No?
Okay.
How can he survive with that going into the next season? No? 3-4 months.
May figurang binanggit based, I don't know what was the basis, pero 250 billion ang nawala sa bulsa ng mga magsasaka. If you can help us go through that amount. Not now, but kasi may mga data. So we'd like to know, dito sa drop ng palay prices, year on year maybe, since 2000, mas maganda sana, since the RTL, ano yung naging aggregate loss ng mga magsasaka na hindi napunta na sa bulsa nila at kung saan na napunta. No? Para maliwanag din kasi yun ang strictly speaking na yung PIDS nandito, di ba? Meron silang policy paper na may mawawalan ng kita ang farmer kaya ang isa sa mga intervention ay dapat cash, direktang cash support. So para malaman natin kung cash support yan, dapat hindi malayo dun sa naging lugi nila. Kasi kung ito ang nawala sa kanilang bulsa, dapat yung cash support na sinasabi ng PIDS sa pasa ng RTL, dapat may cash support dahil given mawawalan ng kita ang farmer dahil sa pagpasok ng imported na bigas. Magkano yun? Kasi ngayon sinasabi, 7,000 per farmer. Kung di ba, parang, di ba, hindi commensurate dun sa loss. Di ba? At kung hindi commensurate dun sa loss, wag na natin sisisihin yung farmer. Kung sa susunod na planting season, hindi na magtatanim.
Sa akin, Senator, medyo iba yung takbo ng isip ko Kaya kasi nalulugi yung farmer dahil bumabagsak yung presyo ng palay, di ba?
Yes.
But if we are able to manage imports well, maybe the palay price will not go down very much. Hindi kailangan ng ayuda. Kasi
No, I understand. I
Yes,
understand.
opo.
Stopgap yun
Okay.
Kasi sabi, actually, yung PIDS recommendation ng cash was stopgap. In fact, may timetable pa ata, dapat 5 taon. Habang ine-enhance yung competitiveness na hindi naman mangyayari kaagad, dapat merong ganong stopgap. So I understand na strategically talagang hindi ayuda ang kailangan, di ba? Suporta sa minimum price, halimbawa, establishment. Dahil ang pagkaintindi ko rin, sa India at sa Thailand, mayroong ganung patakaran na mayroong floor. No? But anyway, sige, please, continue.
Sige po. Well, on that topic nga, ang gusto kong i-contribute sa discussion ngayon is, how can we better manage supply and imports para hindi masyadong sisipa yung presyo ng bigas, hindi rin masyadong babagsak yung presyo ng palay, no? And the government comes in only in extreme situations, no? Okay, so yung next slide po. Let me explain a little bit about the minimum access volume as a tool to do this, no? Sige po, next. Sa commitment po natin sa WTO, we were required to tarify rice, no? Open up the market. And our, maybe yung next slide na lang. Ganyan po. Tatlong klaseng tariff yung itinalaga ng RTL. One is the MFN tariff. This is the tariff that we apply to all WTO members, no? When we tarified, we computed the tariff equivalent to 198%. No? Dapat 198 yung MFN, pero ang ginawa ng gobyerno, sinet to 50. They retained the previous MFN tariff of 50 instead of first at 198, then bring it down to 50. Anyway, MFN, papasok yung imports at 50%. Unlimited volume po yan. To the extent that they want to bring it in, we cannot stop it. No? Yung ATIGA rate, yan ay 35%. Yan ay commitment natin under the ASEAN Trading Goods Agreement. It's lower than the MFN. Kaya you will see that between 2019 and up to recently, halos lahat ng imports natin pumapasok under ATIGA kasi mababa yung tarifa and consistent supplier yung Vietnam at saka Thailand sa atin. So halos lahat yan, no, pupunta. Yung
Mas mababa din ang logistics.
mababa rin ang logistics and also presyo. No? So karamihan ang nagagaling sa MFN, yung India, Pakistan, a little bit of mga specialty rice from Italy, for example, or Japan. No? Yung MAV, sinasabi ng WTO rules, okay, pwede ka magtalaga ng mataas na MFN kasi sensitive product yung rice. Pero pumayag ka naman na magpapasok ng limited volume, minimum access volume, mas mababa ang taripa. No? So 40% yung tariff niyang MAV, no? As against 50% or even potentially 198%. No? No import so far from MAV. Bakit? Hindi pa ginagawa yung guidelines up to now. No? Nasa batas yun ng RTL na dapat maggawa ng MAV guidelines for rice. 7 taon na wala pa akong guidelines. No? So that's one thing we have to work on because that is the tool that we can use. No? So next slide po. Okay, then pagdating ng
Why will they use that? Assuming you have the guidelines. Mas mataas pa rin yung tariff kumpara doon sa ATIGA.
Yes, I will explain po.
Okay, good.
Okay. So nung March 2021, nagkaroon ng Executive Order 135, pinantay, I think the one before this. Yan. Pinantay yung MFN to the ATIGA rate at 35% because the explanation then was wag tayo masyadong dependent sa ATIGA, sa ASEAN. Let's diversify our sources and encourage non-ASEAN suppliers, no? Pakistan, India. Dumami naman ang imports natin in volume, pero as a percentage, hindi rin umepekto yung move na yan. And sabi namin, it will not work and it will just lead to tariff losses. No? Pero yan ang gusto ng finance, so pinagpatuloy nila and then as you can see, most of the imports still came from ATIGA. Next po. And then ito na yung EO63, binagsak yung MFN to 15. No? And siyempre, pati yung mga Vietnam at Thailand, hindi sila papasok dito under ATIGA. Lahat bumaling sa MFN at 15%. No? So EO63 actually did not change the ATIGA rate. It just put down the MFN rate to 15%. Okay naman yung intention kasi tumataas ka yung presyo sa international. That was the time na may El Nino, then nag-import-export ban yung India, tumataas yung international, and because of that, tumataas na yung retail price domestically. No?
Umangat ng hanggang $720
Yes.
per metric ton, di ba?
But one thing I noticed is the government acted by bringing down the tariff 6 months late. No? Makikita nyo sa graph kanina, late 2023, early 2024, ang taas na ng presyo ng imported. No? Pero they acted July 2024. No?